I think I can 100% say this week has gone more tits up than we can all imagine. What a difference a week makes. I was stood here last week saying how the coronavirus was getting quite dangerous in the UK and how it was affecting a lot of people, but now it's just everywhere. It's gotten to the point where we're possibly facing lockdown on Monday and stuff, and I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna try and keep it upbeat on the podcast and all that today, but we have to talk about it because it's one of the only big things that's happened, mainly because all the news that would usually be the news has been cancelled because of it. But yeah, some good news. Want to do some admin at the start. We did the intro on Wednesday. Anyone who's seen that, thank you very much for watching it. Last week's podcast was an experience for me, as I say. It was the first time I'd ever been behind a mic, so I was pretty nervous, but I've gotten a little bit more confident. A lot less M's. Thanks to people that pointed that out. I've tried my best to stop doing it. The views I was looking at on Thursday. I just did it. Sorry. On Thursday, and the channel has passed 100 views, which I put on the group on Facebook. Celebrate every achievement, no matter how little it is, and it means a lot to me, no matter how little that is. Thank you very much for the support. Welcome to your official isolation station. There's nothing else to do, so you might as well sit down, stand up, do whatever in your house, and listen to me chat shit for as long as I'm going to chat shit for. This is CTR Radio, your official, as I say, isolation station. We're not shutting down because I'm already in my house, so this is the work that I can do from home. I want to start off with possibly the biggest news in terms of music, because obviously it's a music channel. I want to talk about it. Glastonbury being cancelled officially. I knew this was coming. Anyone who was paying attention to what's going on with the rest of the world knew it was coming. You see everything else getting cancelled. You see all the sports shutting down, and the government are cancelling anything that has more than 50 people in one area. And now they're cancelling even restaurants and clubs and pubs and everything. Recently as yesterday. So it was definitely on the way. A lot of people are disappointed about it. The official tweet, I'm not going to read all of it, but just to paraphrase, they apologised and they said, we're sorry, you can't go on. But not to worry, all tickets that were purchased for this year's will carry over to next year, so you don't have to worry about that. Anyone who didn't know that information, who has a ticket, that's good news, because they put a lot of money into it, and obviously it's going to cost them. It's going to cost them millions, surely. All the artists that they had booked, all the food vendors and everything that were supposed to be there. Obviously, they're losing out on all the money that they were going to be making. But it is what it is. You can't do anything about it. It was close to the 12-week period that the government put out there for now. Everything in the next 12 weeks is going to be shut down, isolated, quarantined, whatever word you want to use. And Glastonbury was very close to that date, so it was inevitable. It's good. It's good that they've realised this and not just gone through with it. I'm not sure about Parklife. I've not looked at their Facebook page or their Twitter handle or anything like that, but I've got to assume that they're going to cancel as well. Reading and Leeds, that's a different story. That's a little bit further down the line, I believe. So they might close, they might not. We'll just have to see how far it goes. But I wanted to talk about that first because, as I say, it's the biggest story. It's mad, mainly because it's the 50th anniversary. I mean, you had a lot of massive people that were going. Just to name a few, you had Paul McCartney, you had Kendrick Lamar, you had Taylor Swift, you had H, you had AJ Tracy, who also I believe was going. So many massive people for the 50th anniversary. So it's a shame that it happened this year. It's a shame that it had to happen on such a special year for the fans who go to this festival, who literally save up like it's a holiday to go to this festival every single year. You got to feel for them. It's got to be gutting, to be honest. But what can you do? It's a case of, I suppose it's a case of you've got to look, and this is going to be the word of the podcast, and for me it's been the word of the week. You got to look at perspective. Would you rather risk it and potentially making this outbreak even worse than it is, or, you know, maybe give it a miss this year and maybe celebrate the 50th anniversary, which I think will make it even more special next year because the hype around that show will be big. You've got to think that they're going to pull out all the stops, they're going to get all the artists back, but just a year off break from the biggest show in one of the biggest shows in the world, and certainly the biggest show in England, it's going to be big. But yeah, perspective. Perspective is the main word I'm going to be using today, because all this coronavirus stuff, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, I don't care if like YouTube puts that down because I've said it. A lot of people are saying it, so I'm just going to say it. It's absolutely insane what you see going on in the world. And one of the more funny things that I saw was ISIS have told, I don't know what you want to call them, the followers or whatever, they've banned trips or recommended against trips to America and Europe. Okay, well, I'm not sure how that meeting took place. They were just like, listen, the budget for funding our operations in the world is going to be a bit less this year. We're gonna have to lay some of you off, unfortunately. I know it's bad news, but I know how much you wanted to die. But I'm sorry, it's gonna have to wait. We're gonna have to cut ties with some of you. But I mean, it's good for us. Thanks, I suppose. I mean, it really opens your eyes when ISIS are taking care of their employees better than some of these companies out there that I've seen. Some of the news that's come out about some of the bigger companies is insane. The biggest one for me was Amazon. It's been reported that Amazon and Whole Foods as well, by the way, it's that is I think it's like a massive shopping thing in America. Amazon actually own that, so this counts for Whole Foods as well. Amazon have asked the staff, they sent a letter out and said, please can you donate all of your annual leave or holidays, whatever you want to call it, to a pool so staff that get diagnosed and have to be isolated with COVID-19 can use that money and support themselves while they're off. My question is, and when I say it, a lot of people go, yeah, it's true. Where's Jeff Bezos? What's going on there? I mean, the guy is worth $135 billion. He's the richest man in the world, if not the second. And he's asking his employees to do that. Are you seriously telling me that a guy with that amount of money, a guy that will never, ever, even his family, generations come, will never spend that amount of money, isn't willing to help out the average Joe that works for him, to support the family of the guy that works for him? It's one of the most mind-blowing things I've ever heard in my life. He hasn't even come out and said anything. He's not done anything, and I don't understand how he's getting away with it. It was reported that a couple, like last year in Forbes, that he's worth more money than anyone on the planet. When his wife divorced him, she automatically became I think it's like the 8th richest woman in the world, just because she divorced him and took like half of his wealth. And he's not said anything, and he wants his staff to donate their annual leave into a pool. What's that about? Can someone please explain to me how him donating, let's say he's got enough money to do this. Let's say he donates $5 billion to all the staff that work for him, all of his employees, so that it supports him in the next couple of months. That is not going to touch his bank account whatsoever. He's not even going to see that. That's the equivalent of me pulling a tenner out of my pocket and giving it to someone on the street. That's exactly what that'd be like to him. I'm sorry, but there's no excuse for it. Same with Richard Branson as well. Just thinking about all these clever, smart, rich people. I've just decided to sit this one out, are they? So Virgin also have come out, Virgin Media, and just Virgin in general. I think it's airlines and everything. Have come out and said, can staff take 8 weeks unpaid leave? No. Hello, hang on, just like, hi, Richard, I know you're busy on your island and everything, but can you just, go on, turn off the TV, come here for a minute, have a look what's going on, can you just give us some money, please? Or as Alliance communication from his island to the rest of the world just been cut off. You've got smart, clever people, rich people like Elon Musk, like tweeting out last week. Elon Musk, the owner of Tesla. All this coronavirus panic is ridiculous. Right, okay, it's ridiculous. Do something about it. Donate some money instead of sitting on Twitter giving us your daft opinions. It's just, oh my god. Once again, get some perspective, people. Like, how are you going to sit there and watch your company, a company, by the way, that was founded by the people? Amazon will be nowhere without the people. Everyone working for them. Amazon will be nowhere without the postal service delivering all the parcels. Amazon will be nowhere without the people that buy all the products every single day. And Jeff Bezos is sat there like some sort of supervillain with all this money and not doing anything about it. It boggles the mind. I mean, hopefully maybe in a couple of weeks I'll be praising him because he's decided to do something. But he's not done anything so far, and it's radio silence. And it begs a question that why this is from a business standpoint, this is a perfect time for good publicity. Do you know how much people would love you for donating all of your money? Like, I'm not saying all of your money, but a good amount of it. You know how much people would love you in the long run? It'd probably make you more, because you want to be using a company that cares about its customers and its staff, and he's clearly not showing any of it. He doesn't care. He's a selfish man. But I'm bringing these down, talking about this way too much. A bit more of a light story. There was a guy who he saw the writing on the wall. I think that's the way I put it, because it was in January or February. It was earlier this year when the coronavirus information first hit major populations outside of China. The guy went from state to state and spent $18,000 on hand sanitizer. He put it in a warehouse. He must have thought, I'm going to make an absolute killing out of this, and especially in the past couple of days or weeks, he was like, I'm going to make a load of money. Well, unfortunately, the DA of his county, the district attorney, pulled up to the warehouse and made him donate it all to a church and to his community. That has got to sting just a little bit. I don't really feel that bad for him, because you try to exploit what's going on, but at the same time, fair play. But you've got to look at this, right? It is one for you. So he gets all of his stuff taken off him. You've got big, massive corporations doing pretty much the same thing. You've got supermarkets doing the same thing, raising the prices of hand sanitizer. No one's telling them anything. No one's making them donate it. So why is he getting punished and the big companies aren't? I thought that was pretty tight. But as I say, fair play to him for trying. But come on, mate. He's got to be absolutely kicking himself. Absolutely. $18,000 on hand. Oh, no. I don't know what to do. I think I'd just jump in a pool of hand sanitizer and just let it melt me. Moving on to some music news. A funny one. Lil Baby had to come out online and confirm that he wasn't addicted to Adderall. There was a lot of this whole Post Malone thing as well. I think it was off the back of that, because Post Malone had to do the same thing, didn't he? So Lil Baby came out and was like, I'm not addicted to Adderall. Thanks for all the concern, but I'm fine. Then he decided to plug that he was going to be releasing an EP with only features on it that owned Lamborghinis. Okay, fair enough. Drink break there. Mouth's getting a bit dry. Yeah, So he's going to be releasing an EP. I don't know if it's an album or an EP. I don't, because he just released an album, didn't he? I'm sure he did. Yeah, he did. With a couple of features on that, but he's going to be releasing an EP with everyone or only people that own Lamborghinis. Okay, fair enough. Next one, celebrating, Nicki Minaj is the first female rapper in history to reach being worth $100 million, which it came as a surprise for me. I mean, it's a long time coming, but I thought she was already worth that. I mean, she's been around for years and she's everywhere. She's got to be the most famous female rapper at this point of all time. I mean, you've got your Cardi B's, and your Lauryn Hills, but Nicki Minaj has just been everywhere for the past, I'd say, at least a decade, working with all the biggest artists in the world. You gotta think she was like getting there a couple of years ago. Never mind, only just, but yeah, fair enough, fair play to Nicki Minaj. I listened to Lil Uzy Vert's album. It came out this week. It's a long album. It's a marathon. It's got 32 songs, and the playtime is an hour and 40 minutes. Hour and 40 minutes of your life there. My opinion on it, I listened to it when it first came out. I got told to listen to it by someone who listened to this podcast because they knew I was going to be reviewing albums. It's for me, it's a story of two albums. It's got 32 songs, so as I say, it's a marathon. But at the same time, it's weird how it's put together. It's sort of a story. It's a story mainly because it's got this whole like sci-fi 80s arcadey feel, and that sounds weird until you listen to it. But it's got all like, in the beats, it's got a load of like arcadey noises and like sort of Space Invaders sort of thing, and the whole album, the cover is based on I think it was a cult. I'm just gonna bring up a picture on my phone because I took a screenshot of it. I was looking online because I wasn't sure. I remember him getting in trouble about it. I think it was last year. So basically, like the original album cover came out, and he got in a lot of trouble for it, mainly because it looked a little bit too much like this cult's logo. I'm just going to look at the cult's name now. Let's have a look. Eternal Atake, I believe it's called, or something. Let's have a look. Eternal Atake. Album art. Sorry. The album is called Eternal Atake. The Heaven's Gate cult. They're a Christian cult, and they were pretty mad at him. They were going to sue him last year for the original design, but he changed it, and he actually let his fans decide. I think he put 4 different covers out, and he let the fans decide which cover it was. That was pretty good. I thought that was quite nice of him. It was pretty cool. You don't see a lot of artists doing that these days, because obviously usually they have the album cover all sorted, and most artists don't get into trouble with Christian cults. I'm going to talk about some of the songs that I like on it. You've got Myron, which is one of the I think it's the first song that's on the album. You've got Moon. You got Moon Relay. You have got Come This Way. You have got Silly Watch. You have got Money Spreads. I'm naming some of the ones that I think are better than. As I say, you've got a massive pool to choose from, but I think them few are standout hits on the album. He's done a good job. We've been waiting a long time for it. Obviously, you had this whole trouble with the cover and the suing that would possibly be going on. You had a load of trouble with his record label, I believe, as well. I think it was his record label. He was threatening to leave, and they were pushing back the release of his album. I think that's why we've only just got it. It is a double album, as I said, like an hour and 40 minutes. So if you're a fan of Lil Uzy Vert, then congratulations, you finally got what you wanted. There is a song on it that stands out for me, and it's P2. It's currently in the charts now, I believe. I mean, we'll get to that later because I'm going to be going over the top 40 and how we're going to go about that little series that I'm going to have going. But P2, if you remember the original song that got him a lot of publicity, the XL1 tour, it's sort of, it pays like homage to that. It's sort of, as I say, P2, it's like a part 2 to it. It sounds a lot like it, and I think it's meant to. There's two bonus songs on the album. So you've got like a bonus song and then I suppose you'd be like, this is the bonus song to the bonus song. The last one is called My Way, I believe it is. Let's have a look. Let's double check that. Oh, That Way. Sorry, yeah, it's called That Way. It's the chorus sounds a little bit like the Backstreet Boys. I Want It That Way. I don't know why the Uzy Vert is playing tribute to the Backstreet Boys, but fair enough. It's, if you want me to give it an actual rating, like a 1 to 10. Oof. It's hard to do because you've got a long ass album and it is a story of 2 albums in my opinion. I think the beats on them are fantastic, phenomenal. I think the features that he has on it are quite lazy, and that's everyone. I think, like, you've got Future on there, you've got Young Thug. 21 Savage does a pretty good job on one of the songs. I'd say that's probably one of the only decent features on it, but you've got Young Thug on 2 of the songs, and it's just lazy. He doesn't really. It sounds like he's not putting a lot of effort in. Future is the same. Where this album shines is when Uzy Vert did it all by himself. When he was on the songs by himself, and he was sort of just let go and let loose with his own little style. But halfway through the album, it does pick up. I mean, to be honest, before I heard when you get up to about Silly Watch, which is like, I'd say halfway through the album, it picks up. I was listening to this before I got to it. Before I got to that middle, sort of like transition, because it sort of transitions into like different beats halfway through the album. I was thinking, oh, do you know what? This is pretty mediocre for an album that I've waited a long time to hear, and I know a lot of other people have waited a long time to hear it. I just didn't think it was really good. And then Silly Watch hit, and then it sort of turned around, and I was like, okay, it's picking up, it's getting a lot better, and it stayed that all the way till the end after that. So I'd say the second half of this album definitely saves it, 100%. With that in mind, I'm going to give it a 7 if I'm rating it out of 10. It would have been higher if the quality of the album from the very start was like the end. And it's harsh to say that. Obviously, you can't have quality, I suppose, for such a big album all the time. But you've had so much time to work on this. Get some better features, and that's not Uzi's fault. But I think maybe it could have been better if we had other people on it. 100%. I mean, there's some big people in the rap industry at the minute that are not on that album, which I would have reached out to. You've got your Travis Scotts, you've got your Drakes, you've got. I mean, just take some samples from other people. I mean, reach out to all your other little mates. Lil Baby, I was surprised Lil Baby wasn't on the album, to be honest. I'm surprised, as I said, Travis Scott wasn't on the album. A lot of people who I thought was, and when I saw some of the features, like Young Thug was like, oh yeah, this would be good. He had a really good feature last year with Goodbyes with Post Malone. I thought he'd put in a good shift, but no, he sort of half-assed it. Future sort of half-assed it. I sound like I'm really being harsh on this album, but as I say, I gave it a 7. The second half definitely saves it, and that's all I've got to say on that. I want to move on to the second half of this podcast, where it's going to be like a little bit of a sandwiches podcast. So, we've had the meat, just talking about a good album, and a couple of little stupid stories. I mean, at the start we were talking about the CV. That's like the bread. And at the end, now, is going to be, we're going to be talking about something else. I want to talk about, I finally got round to watching the Lil Peep documentary on Netflix, and wow. Let me tell you, if you don't know who Lil Peep is, first of all, where have you been since 2017? Because I think it's been one of the biggest names on everyone's lips in terms of the rap industry. If you've never heard of Lil Peep, I suppose this would be a good start. I'd probably go and watch this documentary and then go listen to his music, because if you look at pictures of Lil Peep, and I put this on my Facebook a couple of days ago, it's funny how, especially the older generation, and no offense to you guys, it's very funny how people look at musicians and judge them based on the appearance, and the first impressions of him. I mean, you got this guy, Lil Peep. He's called Lil Peep. He's got tattoos all over his face. If you took that just at face value, I mean, yeah, like it looks like a bit of a goof, but everything has a story. Everything has a story to it, and it all gets explained in this documentary. For those that do know Lil Peep, it will upset you. It will upset you. It's very sad. It's a story. It's a story of tragedy, to be honest with you. It was hard to get through for myself. I mean, I'm not really an emotional guy, but for me, one of those people who, and spoiler alert, if anyone didn't know, Lil Peep actually died in 2017 of an overdose, an accidental overdose, and that's obviously that's like the coup de grace of the documentary. That's how it ends. It ends with him, overdosing. You hear his friend Lil Tracy, shout out Lil Tracy, he makes some good music, on the phone with 911, explaining that he couldn't wake his friend up, explaining that he wasn't breathing. They were trying to get they were trying to do CPR on him. But even before that, it's a tragic story of just a young guy who never really had anything going for him. I mean, apparently it goes on about how his dad never really liked him, how he treated his brothers differently than him. And he was 12, and he came back home to his mum's house, and his dad was in the room, and he called his dad out in front of his mum. And that's a brave thing to do at 12 years old. And he walked out and never really, and his relationship with his dad never really recovered. In fact, it probably got worse. It talks about a really lovely thing where his mum's dad, so his grandpa, sort of stepped in for his dad. He was like old school. He used to write letters to the siblings, like his brothers. And all the way through the documentary, there's this sort of theme of this sort of transition, like pretty seamlessly, to be honest. So fair play, from showing him as a baby, little baby videos that everyone has of the children, and little like snippets of his concerts, and like how he talked to his mates when he was a little bit older about how he was gonna start being a rapper, how they were gonna go on tour and be big and all that sort of stuff. And all the way throughout the documentary, you've got his grandpa reading out the letters that he wrote to him in this time period, I'd say, because it's not like he was making music all his life. He started at 16 and he died at 21 years old. So, 5 years making music. For the following that he got and the success that he's had is incredible. And I thought that one of his managers, I think it must have been, he was a managing company, one of his people said, like, and he was really, I think it hit the nail right on the head. Lil Peep was gonna change the game in terms of how he rapped, how he came across, his cadence, especially in the music that he made. It was sort of a mix of Blink-182, My Chemical Romance, Green Day, and then your New Day trap, and you rap, and it's impressive to see that from such a young guy who obviously didn't do it. He didn't do it, from when he was, at a young age. He decided to do it because he didn't want a job at the end of the day. And he always felt different, so this was like a sort of a way to express himself. The problem is, he never really got a chance to, carry on. And if you listen to his music and you listen to the documentary, it was never going to end any other way. It was never going to end any other way. He was a troubled person, and the way he dealt with that trauma was to take a lot of different drugs. And how else is it going to end? Do you know what I mean? In 9 times out of 10, how does that end with normal people, never mind celebrities? I mean, just look at the people that we've lost over the years due to this sort of this tragedy. To be honest, you've got Lil Peep, you've got, just to name, like in the actors, you got Heath Ledger. Pretty similar story, how he dealt with trauma by taking pills. Look at Elvis, drugs, uppers and downers all the time, just to deal with the road. But I'd recommend you to watch it. It's a lovely story and it's a sad story at the same time. You can't really understand what I'm saying unless you do watch it. And as I say, if you're a Lil Peep fan, it will upset you, but it's a great watch. On a lighter note, sorry guys, this is a sad podcast, but do you know what? I like talking about things that are interesting. I like talking about things that touch people in different ways. On a lighter note, Bert Kreischer. If you don't know who Bert Kreischer is, for me, he's one of the best comedians out there at the minute. We're talking about Netflix series. He just dropped his new special on Netflix this week, and it's great. Go and watch Bert Kreischer's. Go watch everything Bert Kreischer. Go watch his podcast. Go watch him on YouTube. All the clips that are on there. Go watch all of his specials on Netflix. You might know Bert Kreischer from The Machine Story. It went viral a couple of years ago. It's him, Tom Segura, and Joe Rogan for me are the three maybe the best out there at the moment. I love Tom Segura and I love Bert Kreischer. Go watch Bert Kreischer. It's called Hey Big Boy, and you'll know why it's called Hey Big Boy when you watch it. It's like a reference to what his daughter calls him. It's really good. Go watch it. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to tell you any jokes from it, but I definitely recommend you go and watch it. As I say, and watch out for Tom Segura's that's coming out next week. Around, I think it's the 27th. The 27th is next week, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Go watch Tom Segura's next week as well. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of Bert Kreischer. Let me know what you think of Lil Peep's documentary. Let me know about everything in messages, in comments, anything. Post it in the group. Anything. Just tell me if what I said today made you go out and watch all of these things that I'm telling you to watch, because I think they're worth a good watch. I mean, you've got nothing else to do, especially if you're at home isolated. Go and watch it. Go and give it a go. It's worth it. I'm telling you. About last week. So I was talking about the charts last week, and I'm gonna start. What I'm gonna do is, obviously the charts don't switch up as much as I'd like it to. I mean, it's just the way of the world these days. You got songs that stay in the charts for more than a year. There's certainly some songs that have been in the charts for more than a year. And I think instead of doing it once a week, I'm going to do it once a month. But just to start it now, because I think the 21st of every month is probably a good time to review the chart and see how we're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, just for a reference, what I'm going to be using is the official chart from BBC. It's, in my opinion, the best chart. It's the only chart that matters because it's the official chart. But ignore the Vodafone Big Top 40 for me. Whatever. The Vodafone Big Top 40. Only your downloads. No. Let's not focus just on downloads. Let's focus on everything, which is why the official chart is the best. So I was gonna just do the top. I was just gonna do the top 10, but I'm gonna mention all the top 40 as well. So obviously at number 40 we have got Dior by Pop Smoke. I have not really heard that song. This is literally, for me, the official chart is a lot of mainstream music, and some of it I don't hear, some of them I do hear. So it's going to be a hit and miss of, oh, that's a really good song, all the way down to, yeah, I don't know who that is. If you do know who it is, let me know. Let me know if it's a good track. I don't think I've heard it. It's sometimes you look at some of these names and you think, who? What? And then it comes on the radio and you're like, oh God, I hate this shite. Oh, this is a tune. Yeah, I don't mind it. Speaking of shite, at number 39 is, let's see, you got Power Over Me by Dermot Kennedy. No, it's just not good. I don't like Dermot Kennedy. I don't like his music. Yeah. What else? I'm not gonna hate. Because we'll never get through the chart. We'll never get through it because there's 40 of them. At number 38, we have got Tequila by Jax Jones featuring Martin Solveig, I think that's how you say it, and Ray. Good song. I've heard that on the radio a couple of times. It's really good. I quite like it. Let's have a look at number 37. Oh God, do we even have to mention that? You've got, it is a good tune actually, to be fair. You've got Skepta and Papi Cholo. I think it's really good. Very good. I only heard that recently. I think, let's just see how long it's been in the chart for. Yeah, it's a new entry. I heard it very recently. I thought I did. I think it was this week. Like early this week when I heard it. I didn't know who it was at first. I was like, yeah, it's okay. At number 36, you've got Life is Good, Future, good tune. I'm not going to spend too much time on that because everyone knows who it is. The next one, you've got Tory Lanez at number 35, absolute tune, and that song is The Take. On that, you've got Chris Brown, good tune. I do like that song. It's to be honest, I thought it would have. It's up 46 and it's been in the chart for 3 weeks. I thought that would have been a lot lower down in the charts. Tory Lanez is obviously he's very popular, especially with the youth. Tory Lanez, but his album came out a couple of weeks ago. I say a couple of weeks, it might even be longer now. You've got Doja Cat coming in at number 35. Let's have a look. You got Doja Cat coming in at number 34. You have got the Beatmakers. You know, I'm just gonna make. What I'm gonna do is, I like making little switches live on the podcast. You know, when I feel like things are a bit, you know, this is a bit boring. So what I'm gonna do is, you got a lot of crap. You got a lot of crap in the top 40 sometimes, especially when you go up to, you know, like when you get into the 30s, it's like, what? No, thanks. I'm not into it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start at 15 and then go down from there, because it's a lot more interesting. You got at number 15, you got Lady Gaga's new tune with Stupid Love. It's okay. I thought Lady Gaga retired, to be honest. I'm not sure why she would, but I thought she did. I've not heard her for a long time. You have got Better Off Without You by Becky Hill coming in at number 14. It's okay, not bad, and it's not bad. You got Harry Styles at Adore You with number 13. Harry Styles, this song has been in the chart for so goddamn long, and you've got to think, with all these guys coming making tunes now, you got Harry Styles. Obviously, you've got I think Niall Horan made one a couple of weeks ago. Don't ask me I know all the One Direction names. I don't listen to him, I promise. You got Liam Payne. I will say Liam Payne does make tunes, actually, to be fair. You've got to think in the next couple of... You see, you got JLS coming back. You've got to think a One Direction reunion is in the books, 100%. Coming in at number 12, you have got Halsey's new tune with You Should Be Sad. It's okay. I'm not a big fan of Halsey, to be honest. I think she's a little bit overrated. And that sounds awful, because it's one of those things where she's made some good tunes, and at the same time, it's like, it's very hit and miss. Especially with a chart stuff. I mean, if you listen to her album, she's got a lot more better songs on the album, but the ones that make it into the chart are just, no, not for me. Sorry, Halsey. Coming in at number 11, you have got No Time to Die, Billie Eilish. This song, I have a feeling, especially when the whole James Bond film gets back on track, and it was supposed to debut, but obviously what's happened in the past couple of months is not happening. It's been pushed back. You've got to think that this is going to come back into the top 10 again in a couple of months, which is pretty good for Billie Eilish, I suppose. Like, you know, once again, not a big fan of some of the music. I like Bad Guy. Bad Guy's okay. That was in the chart for a long time. It might still be in the chart. We talked about this one last week. Coming in at number 10, we have got Intentions, Justin Bieber featuring Quavo. I think this is a tune. It's grown on me, to be quite honest with you. I said it was alright last week, and I think it's a lot better. I've heard it a couple more times and I actually quite like it. Coming in at number 9, you have got Godzilla, Eminem. What a tune. Once again, another song that we talked about last week. We talked about the release of the video. Absolute tune. Coming in, let's have a look. Coming in, you got Say So at number 8, Doja Cat, absolute tune. We talked about that as well. See, this is what I mean. This is why I want to start the monthly version of this, because I do think we'll review last month's and be like, oh, you know, it's dropped a couple numbers, it's come up in the chart a little bit more, maybe, you know, we'll have a look, we'll compare it to like last month's, because, like, you know, you'll get some, maybe a bit more movement in the chart. Coming in at number 7, you have got Physical, Dua Lipa. Not too bad. Dua Lipa is also at number 6. Don't Start Now. Dua Lipa's new album. She's got a lot of singles off that album that have come out, and at the time when it first came out, it flooded the chart. You've got Joel Corey with Lonely coming in at number 5. No, that's all I'm gonna say on that. At number 4, you've got The Box, Roddy Ricch. That's another tune that we were talking about last week. I think it's once again still in the chart just because there's nothing really there to take over it at the moment. it grew on me, and then I got a bit bored of it. But that's the radio's fault. Not Chart Topper Radio. That's CTR, baby. We don't talk about things too much and play things too much. I mean, actually, I do talk a lot. I do apologise. Coming in at number 3, what do we have here? We have got H and AJ Tracy with Rain. Absolute tune. This song has grown on me. I liked it when it first came out, and I like it even more now. We have got a change in the top 2 here. Instead of Blinding Lights being at number 1, we have it at number 2, The Weeknd, which means, and I predicted this last week, I said it was definitely going to be a thing. We have got St. John at number 1. This was coming. This was definitely coming with Roses. It was so good when I first heard it, when it first came out, and then I hear it on the radio now, especially on Capital Radio. They play it so much, but there's a reason why they play it so much, and it's because it's an absolute tune. I do love this song. But yeah, top 40. I'm not going to do top 40. Do you like how I did that little transition while I was actually reading it out? I was like, this is getting a bit boring, dead air. So what I did was I changed it on the fly. We're going to do the top 15 because it's more interesting, and I think we'll be able to get through it a lot quicker and talk about songs that people are more interested in, because, less said about Dermot Kennedy, the better. I'm sorry if you like Dermot Kennedy. I feel like I'm just roasting the crap out of him. But yeah, that's going to be it for this week's episode. I hope I entertained you. I hope it kept you, interested in what I'm saying. There is the official isolation station. I'm thinking of maybe doing a little bit of a podcast with a guest tomorrow. Just because people are going to be in the house and they're not going to be doing anything. And I want to keep you entertained. You got to do something, so you might as well listen to me. Because don't forget, don't call it a comeback, because I was here on Wednesday. I'm going to try and make that a thing. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for listening to this podcast. I do want to finish on saying, I've been looking online all week, getting ready for this podcast, and just in general, and I see a lot of people out there who are still not taking what's going on at the minute seriously. My thoughts on that are not important, but what I will say is, before you decide to, jump on your phone and say, oh, this is stupid, and we're wasting time, it's just a flu, which I can't believe people are still saying at this point. Before you jump on there, just take a second. Just think, before you start typing, your little trolley fingers, just take a second to think about the people around you. Take a second to think about the people who have lost their jobs this week, sadly. Take a second to think about the people who might be losing their jobs in the next couple of days. Take a second to think about the people who don't know what the future holds because they don't know how they're going to pay their rent. Just think about that. And if you don't care about the pandemic, and if you don't care what's going on, maybe care about them instead. Maybe stop yourself and take some time to get a bit of perspective. And we go back to that word. Because that's what I've been doing. As I say, I try and keep this podcast a bit light. It's been a little bit more serious this week, mainly because it's hard times. It's hard times, and it's tough times for a lot of people. But I try and keep it light, as I say. But at the same time, what I tell you is how serious this is. 100%. Tomorrow I might go a little bit more into the coronavirus. I've been watching a couple of podcasts with a lot of scientists. I've been looking at more stats because I like to do that. I don't listen to the news. Like, the news changes every hour. I want to listen and get my information from the people who actually know, and the people who get paid to sort the stuff out for us, and if what they say is true, and if what they say is going on, it's going on, because at the end of the day, they get paid to sort this out for us. But yeah, little positive message there for you guys. Thank you for listening to the podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure coming to you. It's a little bit of a weird setup at the moment, because I'm currently moving all of the equipment, mainly because I'm trying to get things sorted, especially the hours. We're working on a new logo. I know it's a bit early in the game, but we've got to think about that sort of stuff. So it's a little bit of a mishmash put together sort of area. I don't know if you can hear the things that are behind me. I'm currently operating, stood up, looking at a wall. Actually, I'm looking at a picture of XXXTentacion that someone bought me for Christmas. But yeah, Thank you very much, guys. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Please share it wherever. Please let your friends know. Comment, give me some feedback. Message me in the DMs if you know me. If you don't know me, then join the group on the Facebook, Chart Topper Radio. Get to know me. Get to know the people that are also in that group. You know, we're getting a bit of a community going. Like, you know, we're getting a bit of likeage on the old Facebook. I've set up an Instagram. Go and follow it. Go and give it a like. I always update, you know, what's this space. Definitely is the word of that Instagram story every single time I put it up. But thank you for spending a little bit of time with me on this Saturday afternoon. I love you guys. I will speak to you again possibly tomorrow. With that in mind, by the way, on Wednesday we are doing another episode of the intro, and officially, just to announce it, this week's album is going to be Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar. I think it suits the occasion because we talked about Glastonbury and he was going to headline Glastonbury this week. I say this week. What am I talking about? This year. So I'm going to discuss possibly his best album, arguably. I think it's his best album. But yeah, that's what's coming on Wednesday, and we've got the possible guest appearance of one of my friends who also knows a little bit about music, also is interested in this whole pandemic. So with that in mind, guys, I might talk to you tomorrow. Peace.